So now we will jump into our main presentation today. Today we have Cindy Schulson, and today she's going to talk about how to get clients online by marketing with heart and hype. And so Cindy, she shows coaches how to stand out in this noisy online world by marketing with heart versus hype. And so she brings a decade of marketing experience working with such companies as Coca-Cola and Visa, and combined with a decade of online marketing to create a paradigm shift on how marketing can be done with integrity and also with heart, which I'm really excited about because sometimes I see these marketing gimmicks and I just totally lose faith in their, because it's just so deceitful. And so one of her greatest gifts is helping her clients sort through the brain dump of ideas so they can find those golden nuggets that make them shine in a very unique way. So with that, I will turn it over to Cindy.
Hey everybody, thank you. I have to apologize in advance. I was saying I'm just getting over a bad flu, so if I cough in your face, please forgive me. I'm going to try to contain myself. Let me go ahead and share my screen if I can. Let's see. Yep. All right. I use some slides to help keep me focused. So let me get this into slideshow mode. Can you guys see? Is that okay? All right, so I think that we said I'm very short presentation, very concise. We're gonna have lots of time for Q&A after. So don't hesitate to take some notes, ask questions, etc. So what we're gonna talk about is growing your business online. And one of the silver linings of COVID, if I can say that there is that this is probably one of the best times to grow your business online. So for how many of you, I guess I can't really see, I can't see, so I'll just have to assume that most of you at this point are focusing on growing your business online. And I've been working with coaches and helping them grow their business online for actually 11 years now. And there's 3 big challenges that I see come up. So I'll just point them out for you, excuse me, and then we'll talk about how to overcome these problems. The first one is the shiny object syndrome, where we're constantly chasing after the bright, shiny objects. The second one is because everybody's online now, it's increasingly hard to stand out in this noisy online world. And then the third challenge I see a lot of coaches struggle with is that there's a discomfort when it comes to selling your coaching. So we're going to start to solve those problems here today. And I want to just be really transparent. There's absolutely nothing for sale here. If what I share resonates with you, you'll be able to schedule a time to talk with me. There's a link you can go to there, sessionwithcindy.com, and we'll talk about your business, your goals, your challenges, and I'll help share some ideas to help you gain more clients and income, and of course, explore how I can best support you. And Todd already introduced me, so I don't need to do a heck of a lot, but just let you behind the scenes. My first business was called Attract Your Niche. I rebranded in 2015 as Marketing from Within, and Todd already shared that I've worked for Coke, Visa, global consulting firms, etc. And it was around, I think 2 years ago, that I reached this point of, despite loving working with coaches, I was actually ready to switch niches because I was so tired of all the hype. It just feels like every day there's a new coach who learns somebody else's program and comes in and just blasts the same stuff over and over again. I'm going to give you 6 figures in 6 weeks. I was ready to just switch niches, but I took a step back and I realized that I really, really love working with coaches and other experts because of that ripple effect. Because when I can help you get your message heard, you can help so many other people too. So I decided instead I was going to take a stand against all the hype. And that's what I'm going to share with you today, is really a different approach that allows you to market in a way that values you and the people that you're here to serve. And when you do that, you're attracting people who are really aligned with you. They value you and they value what you do. So we're going to go back and go through these problems that I shared and talk about how to overcome them. So the first one was that spinning in circles. And I'd love to know, I wish I could see the chat here, but I can't see it. So excuse me, I can't see the chat box, so I can't engage in the way I usually do, which I wonder if there's a way for me to see it. Let me just stop for a second and see. There's the chat. Okay, so I've opened up the chat now so we can actually have better engagement. That would be wonderful. Let's see if I can move that there. All right, there we go. Okay, perfect. Now I can actually engage with you guys. So when we go back to this one, how many of you have tried some of these different tactics? If you just go to the chat, let me know how many of these things you've tried, and I'm sure there's more. Webinar, Facebook ads, tripwires, joint ventures, challenges. How many of you have tried some of these different marketing strategies? Webinars. Anybody else have any that you want to share in the chat? Facebook ads, joint ventures. Okay, great. A challenge is like, typically it's like a 5-day online challenge. You might have seen that. Emails, joint ventures. Okay, awesome. And all of these work really, really well. In fact, I've used all of them in the course of my business. The problem is that you have to get really good at the strategy, and I mean really good at the strategy behind the marketing that gets results. And what a lot of coaches end up doing, and I did this myself 12 years ago when I first came online, was we start chasing after the tactics. We get so excited by all the things we can do, but we don't really have a solid strategic foundation in place. And I like to think about it like when you don't have a solid strategic foundation, and I'll explain what I mean, what are the elements of that in a minute. It's like you're like decorating a cake before it's fully baked, right? And what happens is that it collapses. So we chase after all of these different tactics, but if we don't have this solid strategic foundation in place, your cake collapses. So what we want to do is first build that strategic foundation. And then no matter which tactic you choose, which of those bright, shiny objects you choose to chase after, you'll actually get results. But I speak to coaches constantly, like every week I speak to coaches who've bought into these different programs on how to do all these fun things, but they don't have that foundation in place. And as a result, they really can't implement effectively. And it becomes this vicious circle. So we're going to talk about the strategic foundation. And the very first part of that strategic foundation is the message. Most coaches are not as clear as they need to be when it comes to their message. And this is probably the number one thing that I'm known for. And if you want to get, I have a free brand message template at my website. You can go to marketingfromwithin.com and you can get that. And I worked in strategic communications for many years. So I understand the importance of message. I'm sure you guys do too. But the problem is that for a lot of coaches, it's really not as clear as it needs to be. And especially online, because your message, when you're sharing your message online, it's not like people are going to be polite. It's not like you're meeting them in person and they'll sit there and let you chat, right? It's seconds. You have like 3 seconds before somebody just leaves. So you have to immediately grab people's attention with a really clear message. So I thought we could just do a quick message litmus test and go through these different criteria that you want your message to have. And let's just kind of do a check-in and see how we're doing with the message. Is that okay, you guys? You good with that? Just let me know in the chat so I'm not just talking to myself. That would be great. Okay, cool. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so let's just go through these 10 criteria and just write down like a number out of 10 of how many you feel your message meets, okay? And when I'm talking about the message at this level, I'm just talking about your marketing message, like the what do you do statement. So first of all, is it focused? Does it speak directly to your ideal client? Is it relevant? Does it address what they want or what they're struggling with? Is it tangible? Does it focus on clear results? Is it clear, meaning it's really simple, there's no jargon? Is it concise? Does each word count? Does it connect with people's hearts and minds? Is it unique, or do you sound like everybody else? Is it authentic? Does it feel natural and speak your truth? Is it inspiring? Does it inspire people to learn more? And does it ignite a spark of passion within you? So just go to the chat and write down out of 10 how many criteria your message meets. I'm gonna take a sip. So Paul says 5, Valerie 5. From Stacy. Oh, Stephanie, we're working on it. Okay, Judy says 4. Okay, anybody else? 1 to 4. Okay, thank you, Annie. Anybody else want to share? 4. Okay, so a lot of 4s and 5s. So that means we just have a little work to do. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh no. I'm really hoping I don't lose my voice again. I'm so sorry to cough in your face like this. Okay, thank you. So here's the thing, you guys. We want to make sure that we get our message clear before we start marketing. And here's why. Marketing is really just sharing your message with the right people so they're inspired to take action. And if we don't know what that message is, and we don't have a clear, concise, compelling message, then it's really hard for your marketing to work. So we really want to make sure that before we even start putting the words together, that we have clear focus. I think you guys can see that there's a pattern here. We're reverse engineering in a way. We all start with the tactics. We got to start with the strategy. We all start with the marketing. We got to start with the message. We all start with the message. We got to start with the clarity. Like we all want to jump ahead. And I get that. As I said, I did the same thing. But what I do is I help my clients pull back to the very foundations of clarity that you really need to make your marketing effective. Because honestly, that is where the gold is. When you get really, really clear and you can communicate really effectively, that's when you will start making your marketing much more effective. So when we're talking about this clarity of focus, we're really talking about your coaching niche. And there's a lot of talk about coaching niches, and there's a big challenge for a lot of coaches. So I want you to understand when we talk about niche, we talk about the who and the what, meaning you have to know who your ideal client is and what is the number one problem that you help them solve. We have to have those two pieces of the puzzle. And a lot of coaches, I think I told you guys, my first business was called Attract Your Niche. And I remember when I was trying at the very beginning, like 12 years ago or whatever it was, to find my niche, everything that I studied said, well, just choose a target market and figure out what they want. And it just really didn't sit right with me, because the way I see it is, we might be new in our business, but we have so much experience and strengths and passions that we bring into our business. So I really think that the answer to finding your niche, and this is what I've done for so many years, is help coaches look within you first. What's that solution you're here to provide that really leverages your experiences, your strengths, so you can build your business from a place of strength and passion? And sometimes it's just so sitting in front of us, but we don't see it because we're so close to our own strengths. Like I just finished working with this woman who was an opera singer for many years. And when she came to me, she just wanted to do life coaching. But I knew there was some gold in her opera background. And so we really did some deep dive to look within her and what some of her strengths were. And it was really about how to use your voice to connect with your audience. And so that was a golden nugget that she used to really focus her coaching niche in a way she could make the biggest difference. So it's all within everybody. I mean, you have a unique niche within you. And once you get really clear on who you're helping and what you're helping them with, it's like this huge burden is lifted from your shoulders and you have so much more clarity. And that's a great starting point for creating your message. But the truth is, your message has a really big job to do. It has to communicate, as we said, who you help, what problem you help them solve, the results you help people achieve. But if you stop there, if that's all that you communicate, you're going to blend in with the crowd. You're going to sound like everybody else who does what you do. So what we have to do is understand that people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. I didn't make that up. Somebody much smarter than me understands that. So people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. Now, what that means, though, is that your message has to connect with your ideal clients' hearts and minds. And here's the key. In order to do that, you have to put your heart and your mind in your message. So how do you do that? The typical marketing message is all from the head. It's very, linear, head-based. And that's super important. Like we said, you have to clearly communicate who you help and what problem you help them solve. But you also have to connect with people's hearts. And so what I help my clients do is create what I call a core message. And really, this is the stand that you're here to take in your business. And it's not necessarily emotional in terms of mushy gushy, because that's not what it's about. It's about your unique approach, your unique perspective, your stand, what lights you up, your big why. And what we do is we artfully combine these two elements, your core message, your heart, with your marketing message, your head, to create your own unique magnetic message. So here's an example, just to help walk you through the pieces. This is one of my clients, Dawn. She's a leadership coach. And the first thing we did, because there's a lot of leadership coaches, we get super clear on who her niche was, which is C-level executives in a new role. Okay, so that was the first piece, in a new C-level executives in a new leadership role. That's much more specific in terms of her niche, right? And then we develop her core message. When you step into a new level of leadership, you need to believe in yourself and trust in others. And we take that core message and infuse it into her marketing message to create her own unique magnetic message, which I can't see now because the chat's covering it, but you can read it. Something like, I coach C-level executives and new leaders in new leadership roles to trust in themselves and others so they can, I can't read it, lead their teams and exceed their goals. Okay, so as I said, it's not just about, something like mushy. It's really about your perspective, your stand. And you want to be able to put that into your message and it becomes the heart of your brand. And what happened with Dawn was, and she was really scared to define her niche. And a lot of people are, and I have a tip for you that I'm going to share in just a second on that. But when we were able to develop that niche and create a message that's the intersection of her gifts and the struggles that her ideal clients faced, because of that, she was able to raise her rates by 25%, add 3 ideal clients. And she's on to doing much more. But that's the power of clarity in your niche and in your message. So I wanted to, for anybody here in the chat, and I'm so sorry again for the coughing, anybody here in the chat ever have a fear of choosing a niche? Does anybody can relate to what Dawn went through? Just, in the chat, let me know if that's ever been a fear or if that is a fear for you currently. Yes, Valerie, anyone else? Yes. Okay. Yes. It's a big fear and challenge for a lot of people. worry about eliminating potential clients. So, we have a lot to go through. I'm not going to go through a whole training here on niche. Logically that it's really important to have a coaching niche to make your marketing much more effective, for you to be able to become the expert like Dawn, so you can raise your rates by positioning yourself as more of an expert, knowing how to reach your ideal clients, etc. So when people struggle with the fear, I have a little, I don't know if it's an analogy, but a little visual for you. Normally, when we think of the word niche, we think about or niche, we think about a hole in a wall, right? Do you ever see that visual of a niche, like a hole in a wall? So the word niche actually comes from the French nicher, which means to nest. And so what I want you to envision is a nest. And what is a nest? It's made out of straw and sticks. It's malleable. And your niche will be malleable. It will evolve and refine itself over time. But what's even more powerful about that is that a nest gives birth to something. And so that's what I love to help coaches do, is just get really clear on what's the right niche for you, knowing that it's not to restrict you, it's to give birth to something, and it will evolve as your business evolves. So I hope that visualization helps you. Oh, here's just another example of a core message. Actually, this is the magnetic message. Did that help anybody? The nest, you guys gonna remember that one? Cool, thank you, Amber. So here's another example of a magnetic message. This is Alicia. She's another one, years of feeling lost and confused. So again, like a lot of people, because they get into the tactics first, they feel lost, they're scrambling, they're chasing shiny objects. And once you get that clarity, it is so powerful. And so this is Alicia's magnetic message. I help women who've gone through a breakup get over the ex, heal from the past, and find the strength to love again. And it has to feel natural coming from your mouth, your lips, right? All right, so that was the first part about the bright, shiny objects. And I want to talk about the second challenge now, which is that it's really hard to stand out online. Obviously, your message is one of the ways that you're going to stand out. We just talked about that with your core message, allowing you to really stand out because you're creating a unique brand. But the reality is that there is a lot of noise, a lot of hype online. And what I have found is the best way to stand out from all the empty noise is to add real value with what we call education-based marketing. And what that really is a way for you in your marketing to build trust. Because to me, what your ideal clients really want to know is that you can help them and that you care about helping them. It's really that simple. And so and this is where a lot of the hype stuff comes in. A lot of what we're taught in marketing is that you got to give them what they want, then sell them what they need. Has anybody ever heard that expression before? Give them what they want, then sell them what they need. That is your typical, what the marketing gurus teach, right? So what I want you to think about instead is give them what they want, then teach them what they need. Be generous in your teaching. Show up fully in your teaching, in your marketing. And almost like marketing and teaching are the same thing. And have faith that the right people, the people who are truly serious about getting results, will raise their hand to get your help implementing what you teach. Because you know as well as I do, you're the expert. And it's one thing to have information, it's another thing to know how to apply it. So your ideal clients, the ones who are truly serious about creating transformation, will raise their hand to get your support. So every time you're out there teaching, whether it's social media, speaking, podcasts, Facebook Live, blogging, whatever kind of marketing you do, teach and add real value. Now, how do you know what to teach? I'm going to circle back to that in a minute when I get to the third part. So stay tuned on that. So if you've ever struggled with what do you teach, I'll share that in just a minute. Now, I also want you to leverage every encounter, every marketing that you do to invite people to join your email list, right? And sometimes people think, oh, email's dead. It is absolutely not. First of all, it has the highest ROI of any other marketing. Second, and I think this is what's most important, you own your email list. Now, I have a Facebook group. I love my Facebook group, but I'm not building my whole business success on a platform that I have absolutely no control over. Like, that's a scary thought to me. You own your email list. So really, every time you're out there sharing, you've got to invite people to join your list. I modeled it for you today. If you want your brand message template, go to marketingfromwithin.com, right? And what's important though, is that you have a valuable lead magnet. Have you guys heard the term lead magnet? It's like that freebie, that gift you give people to invite people to get on your email list. But it really has to be a valuable gift. And I mean, how many lead magnets are truly worthwhile, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many we've all opted into that it's like, that was a big waste, right? Also, a lot of coaches, I did a survey of my own list not that long ago, and it showed that 70% of people don't even have a lead magnet. So that's a really lost opportunity if you're not building your email list. So let's talk for a minute about what it's not, and then we'll talk about what it is. Stephanie says this is huge, lead magnets. Yes, so important. Now, if you have a newsletter, that's great, but that doesn't replace a lead magnet because people want instant gratification. They want that instant, satisfaction. A live event or a live webinar is not a lead magnet because that's time sensitive. And a consultation is not a lead magnet. I tried that 12 years ago, or 13, I think. It does not work. Yes, you can invite people to do a consultation. I modeled that again for you today, but people are only going to do that typically after they've experienced some value from you. It's an investment of their time. So give them something immediate and build that relationship of trust. So here are a few kind of formats that you can think about: an ebook, a checklist, a template, a video, a quiz, an assessment. Those are all great possible formats. You want to choose the right one for you, like what's going to be the easiest thing for you to create, and also make sure it's a good format for your ideal client. But even more important is the right topic. And this is a really strategic choice. And again, a lot of coaches would just like get into action. It's like, okay, I'll just do this. It's strategic. And why do I have a picture of an Oreo cookie? Well, here's the thing. It's kind of like a sandwich, right? Or an Oreo cookie sandwich. So you've got to make sure that your lead magnet hooks people in with a top of mind problem for your ideal client. That's the top layer. And that it positions your services. So the lead magnet is the center of the cookie. Does that make sense? So I did this presentation the other day for some people, and they're like, Cindy, you have a lot of food analogies in your I must have been hungry when I created this. But I hope that makes sense for you guys to think about. So I want to do another quick litmus test with you guys. If you have a lead magnet, or if you don't have a lead magnet, say 0, or whatever. And if you do, I want you to think about, does it help solve a specific problem? Is it a top of mind challenge, meaning something your ideal client is already aware they have a problem with and looking for help with? Does it highlight your expertise, position your services? Does it have a compelling name? Is it easy to consume? Is it instant gratification? They get it right away. Evergreen, meaning it's not time sensitive. Does it look professional? And does it inspire people to take action? So please go ahead and share with me and let me know how you're doing. So we have Judy and Annie who say totally 0. Jake says 5. 0 from Pamela. 0, 0, a lot of people. And again, you're not alone. Like I said, so many people. 6, good stuff, Stacy. Okay, good, Stephanie, good. So, don't feel bad if you don't have one yet. Like I said, I did a survey and 70% of coaches didn't have one. So, hopefully you understand the importance of it. And then what's also important is that after people get on your email list, You want to have a nurture sequence, meaning it's an automated series of emails that go out that build trust and inspire people to take action. So a big mistake people make is they get them on their list and then they don't do anything. Okay, we're ready for the third big mistake, or challenge, I should say, which is uncomfortable selling. Anybody can relate to that? Okay, this is a really important one. If you've been sleeping, wake up now. Okay, this is a really important one. Coaching is so intangible. It's really hard to explain your unique value. And he says, totally uncomfortable selling. Okay, so here's the thing. I actually got these little images by just doing a search online, like coaching packages. This is how most coaches sell their coaching. 3 months, 6 sessions, 12 sessions, whatever, right? Anybody can relate to this? You know, this is how we're taught to like kind of package our coaching, right? So either selling your time or bundles of your time. And that's not serving you because it's, again, intangible. And when you're just selling your time, you're typically chasing after clients. And what's more, and this is so important, you're typically undercharging because you're not really selling the transformation. And it's actually not serving your clients either because they're not getting the full transformation and they don't see the path forward. It's just so intangible. Now, you might have heard that you should sell the result versus selling your time. And I totally agree. But here's the thing. You have to prove it. It's one thing to say, I'm going to help you get this result. And it's another thing to build trust and confidence that you can actually help people achieve that result. So how do you do this? How do you sell something so intangible and build trust that you can help them get the results while standing out from all the other coaches? Stop selling your time and charge your true value. That's a big order. The answer is creating what I call your client journey. I'm so sorry, you guys. And I want you to think about your client journey as the steps you take with your clients and the results you help them get at each step. Let me take a sip. I'm so sorry, but honestly, a week ago I had no voice, so I'm doing better. So this client journey, and I'll show you an example in just a minute, when you can explain what are the steps you take with your clients and what are the results you help them get at each step, it takes coaching from something completely vague to really tangible. And it gives your clients confidence because now they can see the path forward. They can see how you're going to help them get those results. It allows you to stand out as a trusted expert because you've packaged your brilliance, you're boosting your credibility and differentiating yourself. And it allows you to earn a lot more income because now instead of getting paid for your time, you're getting paid based on the results. And you're really, and this is the most powerful part to me, is you're really honoring your value because you have this incredible expertise. But if it's all vague and intangible, it's hard for you to communicate it. When you sit down and you create that client journey and you really see how you're going to help your clients get results, it allows you to really own your value and charge your value. Now, what's fun is you can even create a visual roadmap of your client journey. So here's an example from one of my clients, Becky, and she just created it. I think she did such a beautiful job of her client journey. Excuse me. And she actually, what she did was so smart. She took that client journey. She had a client that she was working with, and it was the end of the client's time. She'd been selling her time. And Becky took that client journey and she shared the visual with her client and said, here's what we've done. Here's what we have left to do. And that client invested in a $10,000 package. Becky had never sold a $10,000 package before. But because the client could see the journey and could really understand the path that she was going to go on with Becky to get those results, she just paid $10,000. And Becky went on to repeat selling the high-end packages after that. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that sound like something that would be helpful for you to be able to have a visual of your client journey like that to share with your potential clients? Let me know in the chat. Stephanie says, absolutely. Anybody else? Does that make sense to you? Cool. Thank you, guys. I know it's just me talking, so it's always nice to hear back. Thank you. I appreciate it. So really, that client journey is the #1 missing piece that makes it so easy to sell your coaching. This is like one of my clients, Ariel. I just love her. She does really intangible healing work, very deep healing. And it was so hard for her to be able to express it. So when we created the message in the client journey, she can now explain to anybody exactly what she does. And so she ended up in our short time together getting 9 new clients, which is amazing. Rachel, same thing. Also, like, just, she so smart, but she didn't have the courage to really own her value in that way. But once we honed in on the niche and the message and the client journey, she has a full client load. And what's also really fun about this is you're going to earn more income. Chris, and honestly, if you think you can't do the client journey because you've only been selling your time, this is Chris. She'd only sold her time. After we got that client journey, she sent an email to her small list, and she ended up with 3 high-end clients. And this is one of my favorite stories. This is one of my clients who's become a dear friend, Cindy. She's a nonprofit consultant or coach, I should say. I'm so sorry. And she so smart at what she does. She has been working in the nonprofit world for a long time, but she was not charging her true value. And so she was working so hard because she was doing all this work, and it was like she wasn't earning as much income as she deserved to. Once we had that client journey, she really owned her value, and she doubled the price of her package and right away sold a $15,000 program, which is so cool. But it's also the key to leveraged income. I know a lot of people like running group programs, for instance. You can take that client journey, you can package it in different ways with different levels of access to you, and you can create like group coaching programs, mastermind programs, VIP days, membership programs. Like, you base all of your programs around that client journey. So that's what Pallavi did, is be able to take that client journey and fill her first group coaching program. Now, I promised you I was going to tell you, remember the stay tuned. The other amazing thing you're going to do with your client journey is you're going to teach it. Your content, if you don't know what to share in your marketing, you're going to teach your client journey. Okay, so the reason that you're going to do that is because that's going to allow you to really share your expertise and position your services. So here's an example of my client journey. I've actually taught it to you today. Clarify your message, monetize your message, share your message. It's exactly what I've taught you today. Stacy asked, is the journey something you put on your website? Absolutely. A lot of my clients, we put it on the services page of their website. So I want to quickly review with you what we've talked about. We've talked about the shiny object syndrome and how you have to get really good at the strategy first with that clear niche and magnetic message. We talked about all the hype and noise outline and how it's hard to stand out, and how you're going to do that differently by adding real value, by building trust and having that lead magnet so that you can build that relationship of trust. And we talked about being uncomfortable selling and how you're going to have that client journey so you can easily sell your coaching and earn a lot more income and own your value. Now, I know I gave you a lot of information, and I want to ask you what your next step is going to be. I want to make sure you understand that marketing only works when it's tailored to you. My brand, my business is called Marketing from Within. This is what I believe. You have to really put you in your marketing for it to be effective. And the other thing to understand is that there's I call it the holes in your marketing bucket. So there's all these pieces, and it's like putting together a puzzle. your niche, your message, your offer, your lead magnet, they all have to be strategically aligned. And if one of these pieces is off or out of alignment, it's like a hole in your marketing bucket. So you put all this work in and then there's a trickle out. So we want to make sure that it's working and it's aligned to you. So I promised you I was going to let you know how I can support you. Again, nothing for sale. I want to just share with you 2 ways I can support you, and I'll show you how you can have a conversation with me. One is I run a mentoring group called the Marketing with Heart Mentoring Program. I keep my groups really small. We're actually starting next week. So if you're interested in this, I'd encourage you to reach out to me. It's a step-by-step training program where I teach you everything I shared with you today and more of exactly how to clarify, share, and monetize your message. It's a small group. I include some private coaching, accountability, and community. Judy, I've already sent a message from your website. Thank you, Judy. I look forward to speaking with you. It's a hands-on. I'm really proud of this, you guys. The average online program has a 3 to 10% completion rate. We have an 80 to 90% completion rate. I'm super proud of that. And I believe the main reason is that we're really in this together. Like, I am so over the big programs with no support. So I keep my programs really small so we can really get you amazing results. And I, of course, also do private coaching. So again, if you want to speak with me, you can go to sessionwithcindy.com and schedule a time for us to chat. I think that's it for me. So I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to stop talking so I can actually come back and see you guys again.